ways to get it: borrow or rationalise your asset base.
The Honourable Manaia Mahuta.
Mr Speaker, if it's not one thing in education, it's another. And there's no seed of a doubt in the public's mind that the national government's bungling through the education system is creating a great big mess along the way. Mr Speaker, first we see the bungle from the government of introducing national standards in our schools. Sure, many schools are meeting the requirements of the ministry, but they don't do it because they think it's going to make a big difference to the learning outcomes of children. They do it because they have to. The teaching profession informed the minister at the time that the testing of our primary school children in reading, writing and math was a narrow measure of learning progress and had the potential to narrow the way in which New Zealand's rich curriculum could be delivered in our schools, in our classrooms for the benefit of our children, Mr Speaker. We've since found out that there is a huge variance between schools and within schools as to how the overall teacher judgment impacts on a student's assessment. Parents want to know how well their child is doing while they are at school, their rate of learning and what can be done to improve their progress. National standards does not provide the type of information that will help parents as first teachers to progress the learning of their children. Mr Speaker, it doesn't work and won't work in the current regime. New Zealand needs well-rounded, engaged, resilient and creative learners confident in who they are. National just don't get it, and they're proving that's the case. Today's classrooms are full of children with diverse learning needs, and the minister's response this year? Cram them into larger classes. She claimed it won't make much of a difference. Well, parents knew that things had got out of control, that this government didn't understand what works in education, and they mobilised and challenged the government on that very issue. When their children came home from school saying that they might not have a technology, science, art, drama, kapahaka, music or extension teacher, parents became really angry with the national government, some of their supporters. I won't be surprised if they switch at the next election, because they know in their heart of hearts that National is not committed to educating the future leaders of this country, and they're showing they don't have a clue. Mr Speaker, Labour tabled research in this House which showed that larger class sizes for our youngest, most vulnerable and disadvantaged learners did not improve achievement outcomes. We were clear that we would reverse this silly policy. Well, time passed, vigorous lobbying, damaging polls and common sense prevailed, and the minister had to back down and turn around her decision on larger class sizes. Now, that initiative was supposed to make a savings of $114 million over 4 years and be used for teacher quality. And now the minister is scrambling around looking for funding to invest in quality teaching. Stump up with the funds, Minister. Find that money, because we believe quality teaching does matter and should never have been considered as a trade-off for larger class sizes. In fact, what we should be doing is treating education as an investment portfolio. Get rid of charter school initiatives, cap the amount of funding for independent schools, reverse tax cuts for the top 3% of income earners, and there you will have resources necessary to address the ongoing needs of professional development, mentoring and training supports for teachers, because great teachers do make a difference, but the environment of the school and classroom matter as well. Hot on the heels of this bungle, Mr Speaker, was another blunder. A rush of blood to the head saw the Prime Minister promote league tables. But it would depend on the shape of the reporting so that schools would not be disadvantaged, we heard. Whatever that means. What does it mean, Prime Minister? He wasn't quick to clarify what the shape of the reporting of league tables will be, but he should. League tables and ranking schools based on reading, writing and math confirms exactly what the educational professionals thought would happen after national standards. Mr Speaker, league tables That member says, why shouldn't schools tell parents what's happening in their schools? Parents want to know. Many schools will tell that member that they provide plain English reporting to their parents, but what is more important is the learning progression of their child, not simply that they did not achieve. Mr. Speaker, this government is failing in education and has done a very bad job.
Honourable Tim Grosser.
Mr. Speaker,